Okay, today I want to talk about head proportions, specifically as they relate to animation. The key takeaways are that when you're designing your head, you need to pay close attention to where the center of the eyes are, the bottom of the nose, the bottom of the mouth, and then a location just above the bottom of the nose where the cheek will be. Okay, so let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. The first point to be aware of is that you shouldn't really strive for perfect human proportions. And that's because every face is different, and that's what gives each character its character. The Mad Art of Caricature by Tom Richmond is a really good book that talks about these differences in proportions and yet how to still maintain a recognizable face. But while we don't want to have perfect proportions or strive for that, we do need to have a basic understanding of what those proportions should be like. The most important proportion or location to keep in mind is the center of the eyes. For children, the center of the eyes will be very low on the head, and for adults it will be higher on the head. But on average, you can think about it being halfway between the top of the head and the chin. Spacing the eyes, it's good to keep the width of the eye in mind, and the classic proportions are one eye width from the edge to the beginning of the eye, then the eye width, an eye width between the eyes, and then another eye width to the edge. So that gives each eye width is 1/5 of the width of the head. Now the base of the nose is not quite halfway from the eyes to the chin. This is an important location to remember because it also shows where the base of the ear is, and that is where the jaw will come up to connect to the ear. The next very important location to remember is the bottom of the mouth as opposed to the center of the mouth. Classically, that is 1/2 of the way between the bottom of the nose and the chin, but like you can see in this particular drawing, it's a little bit above that. Now that's a very important location to remember because it also marks typically where the jaw corner meets. And then the final location where the cheek is going to be is not very visible in the front view of the face, but in the 3/4 view it is very prominent. So let's think about these points or these locations as we think about the head turning within an animation. If I know where the center of the eyes are, well then I can of course draw that eye. And if I have a horizontal line, then when the head turns I know where the eyes should be located on the 3/4 view. And in the outline of the face, we know that at the center of the eyes, that's where the face will kind of indent, which is why the center of the eye is so important. Now if you'll notice, the ear is just aligned with the top of the eye. We've already noted that at the base of the nose, that's where the bottom of the ear is, and that's where the jaw will join to the ear. And we've described how the corner of the jaw aligns with the bottom of the mouth. Now if you'll notice here, the cheek is about at the location where the point of the nose, or just above the point of the nose, is. Now as I've said, these are very typical proportions, and if you want to exaggerate your character, that's where you can move these positions. Now when we think about animating the character, in Anime Studio, for example, we construct the face out of points, and if I'm going to do a head turn, I want to have a minimal amount of points that will, when I rotate the head, can give me the 3/4 view. And so here I have the points that are associated with the center of the eye, and the red points here are where the base of the nose would be, and then the corner of the jaw or the bottom of the lip. I have another video that describes the head points a little bit more, so I'm not going to go into detail there, but I just wanted to show that. Now regarding widths, we talked about the eye widths. The nose is typically or classically from the inner edges of the eyes in terms of its width. And the mouth typically, classically, goes all the way to the center of the eyes, but you can see here we have a smaller mouth. Now, another very important or helpful technique to think about is what is considered the equilateral triangle in the classic human proportion. So if we go from the outer edges of the eye to the bottom of the mouth, that forms an equilateral triangle. Now if you look at this character, it's not quite equilateral, but I could create a very different character if I made the triangle smaller, bring the eyes together and elongate the face, or if I squash the triangle and flatten the face. Now, just for interest, let's show an actual human face. Here you can see they've shown the proportions of that face, and if I bring that down, you can see how it is similar to, but not exactly the same as the face that we use as a reference. So those are some quick points to remember with respect to proportions as you design your head. Remember the center of the eyes, and that is the indentation point on the 3/4 view. The bottom of the nose, which is also where the jaw joins the bottom of the ear, and is about halfway from the eyes to the chin. The bottom of the mouth, which is also where the corner of the jaw is, and about halfway from the nose to the chin. And then the location of the cheek, which is about where the point of the nose is. Hope that helps.